Greetings, fellow Slayers. We're looking back at the Vampire Slayer Season 5, now continues on with Into the Woods. Excuse me. At the hospital, the Scooby Gang awaits news from Dr. Aaron Kriegel about Joyce's surgery, and they are all relieved when the surgery is a success. Dawn spends the night with Sandra and Anya so that Buffy and Riley can have some private time. With the house to themselves, Buffy and Riley spend a romantic evening together, and Riley comments her on how she remained calm and didn't cry. Buffy tells him she cried a lot, and Riley's once again upset that she refused to open up towards him. As Buffy lies to sleep after some love-making, Riley sneaks out of the house. Spike, having been on his typical nightly vigil, secretly follows Riley to an old building. Buffy spends the day with her mother in the hospital and discusses Joyce's wig options and Buffy's relationship with Riley. At night, Spike enters Buffy's bedroom and wakes her up to show her what Riley has been doing. Buffy shocked to find him in the arms of a vampire being fed upon. Riley sees her and Buffy runs away. As Riley arrives at his apartment, where he finds Graham and Major Ellis waiting for him. Left for Riley position in the Army's new anti-demon organization, assuring him they are nothing like the government initiative and exist only to stop demons, not study them. They tell him they'll ship out to Central America the next day, at midnight. At the magic box, Buffy storms in and demands information about humans paying vampires to bite them. Just as Anya confirms the existence of vampire dens, humans get off on the rush of the experience and the danger the vampire might go too far. Buffy's secret that Joss didn't tell her about this kind of place, but Joss explains he didn't know this was going on in Sunnydale, and, even if he did, he might have told her because the victims are willing and she should remain focused on more imminent threats, like Glory. Buffy refuses to back down and gets even more agitated when Xander suggests waiting for Riley. Arriving at the nest, Buffy and the others find the building empty. The vampires worry that Buffy would return. Joss suggests the vampires will now be lying low, but Buffy's determined to find them and sets the building on fire, leaving everyone certain something is wrong. Riley has a Spike's crypt furiously allowed Buffy to see the truth and, after throwing the vampire around a bit, he stakes him. Riley reveals that the stake is plastic and his actions were only a warning. Spike maintains that Riley has no future with Buffy, and the two rivals eventually share a drink, discussing how they both love her, but she doesn't return the feelings for either of them. Spike tells Riley that he is generally jealous of his position of intimacy with Buffy, although sometimes he wonders if Riley's situation is worse, being so close to Buffy while not actually having her. However, Hunter concludes that Riley has the better deal. Riley asks Spike if he really thinks he has a shot with Buffy. Spike responds in the negative, but says that a fellow's gotta try. He's gotta do what he can. Buffy releases her aggression on a punching bag in the magic box's training room until Riley shows up to try and talk to her. And tells her he started his late-night vamp activities because he wanted to know what Buffy felt when she was bitten by Dracula. Suddenly frames her as allowing rather than being an unwilling victim. Riley tells her that the vampires needed him and Buffy didn't, reminding her that she didn't ask for his help when her mother was ill, and she chose to shoulder the whole burden herself, instead of letting him share it with her like he wanted to. When Buffy tells him that she's given everything she has, Riley says that he doesn't believe her and tells her about the offer to return to the government. He's going to leave Sunnydale unless she can give him reason to stay. After he has manhandled her repeatedly, she turns and leaves. The vampires from the nest surround and distract Buffy as she leaves the shop alone. She stakes all 8 of them, including the vampires she had seen drinking from Riley. Xander winces to sling and chooses to confront Buffy rather than comfort Buffy, believing she is hiding from her problems. He blames her for Riley's actions and even claims that Riley has given her everything, or is everything for her, once she treated him as a rebound after Angel's departure. She comes to pretend that she's treated Riley as convenient, expecting him to be there when she needs him and to disappear when she doesn't. She tries to stage the subject by accusing Xander treating Anya as a mere convenience, but Xander won't be swayed from his purpose, describing Riley's kind of guy that comes around once in a lifetime, and recommending that she has to decide if she's really going to lose him for good. If she's really willing to lose him for good. Xander gets through to Buffy, and she takes off. Although she runs as fast as she can, Buffy's unable to get to the heliport in time to stop Riley from leaving. The helicopter takes off with Buffy on the landing pad, calling after Riley. He stares in their direction, leaving without knowing that she had tried to reach him. After his talk with Buffy, Xander goes to Anya and declares to her how much he loves her. Still shocked, Buffy returns home, while Riley leaves Sunnydale without looking back. Aww. So let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. This episode begins just after Joyce's surgery for her brain tumor, having begun at the end of the previous episode, listening to fear. I suggest Dawn that they play Life again, but Dawn says Anya always wins, as they first played in Real Me. Riley smiles when Buffy corrects him, saying that she cried a lot because of her mother. The night Buffy first heard about Joyce's possible health problems, Spike was who kept her company while she cried in Fool for Love. Spike continues his nightly vigil outside the Summers house, his first thing doing in No Place Like Home. Riley briefly leaves Buffy's side on her bed to be the vampires at the den. Similarly, in Buffy vs. Dracula, Buffy left Riley's side on her bed to slay vampires at a cemetery. Buffy tells Joyce she and Riley would have some Bible study. Riley's attending church and Who Are You? While Buffy told the Christian pamphleteer and the freshman that she went to accept Jesus, but she got really busy. Riley joins the demon hunting military organization, returning to Sunnydale and As You Were during a mission for them. The banner of Jaws hangs above the counter and the matchbox reads, "Don't forget Winter Solstice, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, and Gorthanar's Ascendants are coming." The Scooby's holiday festivities will be seen in a flashback in the episode The Body. In Doppelgangland, Willow becomes upset when she finds out Anya's plans and takes back her chicken's feet. In this episode, Anya and Willow have a fight that starts out over chicken's feet. Willow and Anya bicker about their differences, which culminate into their misadventure during Joss's absence in Triangle. Joss mentioned knowing about vampire dens from his Ripper days, a reference to the nickname from his youth it was revealed in the Dark Age. More recently, Giles had an encounter of sexual nature with the three sisters in Buffy vs. Dracula. Riley's the first person whom Spike confesses that he's attracted to Buffy, declaring his love for her only in crush. Excuse me. Spike tells Riley that Buffy needs some monster in her man, and As You Were, when Riley catches Buffy in bed with Spike, Spike tells him, "What can I say? The girl just needs a little monster in her man." Spike tells Riley he's envious of being this close to Buffy and not have her. From Wrecked to As You Were, Spike and Buffy will have a sexual relationship without her loving him back. This changes only in Love Dares You Part 2, when they give themselves a second chance. Riley tells Spike about him seeking craving vampires to bite him, something first did in Shadow. Riley tells Buffy he immaturely wanted to even score with her after she was bitten by Dracula, as they were just by jealousy at the time in Buffy vs. Dracula. And Buffy tells Riley she gave him her heart, body, and soul. He argues that he doesn't feel it. In the replacement, Riley convinces Xander about his certainty that Buffy doesn't love him. Xander accuses Buffy of seeing Riley as convenient. One of the keywords Buffy will use when rejecting Spike after the first night together in Wrecked. In Turbulence, Xander says he was always in favor of Riley as opposed to Angel, and Buffy will recall the discussion they have in this episode. Although projecting from her situation at the time, Will inadvertently foreshadowed in the initiative, Riley indeed breaks up Buffy and leaves town. By the end of her relationship with Riley, Buffy used these circumstances as a pattern when rejecting future partners that she believes she would doom them, such as Setsu in A Beautiful Sunset and Robert Dowling in New Rules Part 2. Gray will appear only once again as a supernatural analyst in Pieces on the Ground Part 1. Now let's take a look at some production notes from this episode. The message, "A Mary of D.C. Gustafsson" at the episode appears to Gustav Gustafsson, who was the lead man for most of the first four seasons of the show. This was the first Buffy episode directed by executive producer Marty Noxon. Of the experience, she says, quote, "It was incredibly exciting. It was very difficult, and I discovered a lot of things that I need to learn to do better. Ultimately, I was pretty happy with the results. I thought the most important thing as a director is to tell the story, not to get caught up in being all fancy just for fancy's sake, so I tried to do that," end quote. She will do the same again and forever. Mark Blucas leaves the main cast in this episode. He was promoted to series regular in Doomed, therefore being a main character for exactly one season. He returns for one guest appearance in the episode As You Were. When asked why they chose to have Riley leave Sunnydale, Josephine and Stacey tried to give Buffy a healthy relationship, but people didn't want it. They did some great work together, but at the same time, when they were happy, it made people crazy. Randy Knox adds, quote, Sunnydale romance just rarely goes well. Buffy the boyfriend is as interesting as Buffy in some kind of romantic strife. Riley, by his nature, was such a good and contrast good was such a good and constant character, they were at the risk of things getting a little dull, end quote. So now let's take a look at some pop culture references. Sam describes the film about a chimp playing hockey, a likely reference to MVP, Most Valuable Primate. Xander jokes about the movie being based on the work by classic playwright Anton Chekhov. Buffy asks, are you planning to seduce me, Mr. Finn? I like a reference to the famous line from The Graduate, aren't you trying to seduce me, Mrs. Robinson? Xander describes Anya bathing him in an erotic, penthousey way, referring to the pornographic magazine. Xander describes that Buffy got old Rambo and torched the place, a reference to the main character of the action movie franchise Rambo. Xander questions Buffy's use of the word dependable, comparing it to the insurance company State Farm. And now finally, let's take a look at some goofs. Right after the opening credits roll, when the Doctor is giving Buffy and the gang the news, the light equipment is visible to the left of the screen. Riley stabs Spike with a plastic stake, but there's no hole or blood in his shirt afterward. When Spike and Riley are in Spike's crypt, the camera pans out of the end of the scene, when the filming equipment becomes visible on the left and right of the screen. Buffy explains to Xander that Riley will leave at midnight unless she stops him. But Riley never told Buffy that he was leaving at midnight, just that he was leaving tonight. All the audience knows it's midnight from the earlier conversation between Riley and the Colonel. Nor did he tell her he was leaving by helicopter, he just said transport, and from where, which seemed to know the spot to run to try to stop him. Okay then. So I think this is a pretty heartbreaking episode because, yeah, I just wish that, that Riley had had Buffy gotten to Riley in time, then maybe, yeah, he would have stayed. But, oh well then, guess sometimes things just don't work out. So, yeah. So overall, I give Into the Woods 4 vampire steaks out of 5. My name is Tinderbiz, we till next episode, Triangle. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.